unexpected guest has arrived.
Something unusual was reported entering our atmosphere last night.
And soon, everyone's life will be transformed. Because this guest isn't just visiting.
Still moving.
What the hell is that?
A visitor, I presume.
It's looking for a home.
The probe penetrates the brain while these hooks lock into the spinal column.
Using us like puppets?
We're being manipulated.
They're capable of transmitting not just intelligence, but memory.
We're only human after all.
Stumble on them!
Secure the building.
Security!
1 day, 4,000. 2 days, 16,000. In 2 weeks, there would be
More than 250 billion.
You can't move unless they let you.
We've lost a town, now we've lost an army.
Daddy?
they're using children.
Cannot think of them any longer as children.
You can't scream until they make you.
I warned you.
You can't escape when the enemy is within you.
All I know is really you. If it's not, you know what to do.
Donald Sutherland.
Get it off him! Get it off!
The Puppet Masters. Hollywood Pictures takes you behind the scenes of a major new science fiction thriller. The making of the never-before-filmed classic novel, Robert Heinlein's The Puppet Masters.
The book, even today, I've read it a million times, sweeps me up. There's something very fresh and original about Puppet Masters because since H.G. Wells, it was really the first modern story of an alien invasion.
Something unusual was reported entering our atmosphere last night.
The story centers on a team of government specialists sent on a highly classified mission to investigate a UFO sighting.
See the little blur in the upper left-hand corner?
Donald Sutherland, Julie Warner, and Eric Thal are the first to discover the full horror about to be unleashed on our world.
The last thing that she expects is to ever really see a creature. So it's exciting and terrifying at the same time.
It wasn't supposed to happen like this.
What wasn't?
First contact.
That's good. Look once more for me, Keith, will you?
It's always seemed to me that the best science fiction films are those in which the audience is led into it through understanding their own world.
What's your guess? How many of those things could have been in that hole?
Well, based on the size of the cavity, could have been thousands.
Unlike most films where the aliens invade Earth, Robert Heinlein's The Puppet Masters do not kill their victims.
It is almost a story in modern dress of demonic possession. The bad guys in this film are creatures that sit on your back and sneak probes into your brain, and they own you totally.
They're using us like puppets?
And why have they come here? What do they want?
You're completely controlled. You're still aware of everything that's going on. You'd be better off if the creature completely took you.
Get it off him! Get it off!
Okay, on 3, let's open it up.
The design team that created the creature was led by Greg Canham, two-time Academy Award winner for makeup on Mrs. Doubtfire and Bram Stoker's Dracula.
They're like little time bombs ready to go off, and once they do open up, then they would stick themselves on the back of their host. It would basically fit between the shoulder blades.
These creatures are wonderful. The guys who built them have done really great things with them. They're really ugly. Everything that we consider slimy and untouchable.
And action.
Every aspect of filming Robert Heinlein's The Puppet Masters is conceived with realistic detail.
Militarily, we would talk to a lot of people advisors who would tell us how the military would react to these kinds of crises.
How long does it take the creature to prepare for division?
1 day, 4,000. 2 days, 16,000. In 2 weeks, there would be
more than 250 billion.
As the stakes escalate, so does the fear and paranoia.
We're being manipulated.
The remainder of the film becomes kind of, can you trust anybody who's standing next to you?
Sam, all I know is really you.
Somebody once told me that just because you're paranoid don't mean they're not out to get you.
Robert Heinlein's The Puppet Masters is coming to the screen, realistically, faithfully, as chilling as its original source. Hollywood Pictures presents Robert Heinlein's The Puppet Masters.
The creature effects were just the pod, and that was these creatures are wonderful. The guys who built them have done really great things with them. They're really ugly in everything that we consider slimy and untouchable. They are, and to have one of those on your back in your mind is unthinkable. The essence, I think it deals more with our fear of the unusual, our fear of the strange. He is capable of creating the underlying tension that paralyzes you with fear, with anxiety, and in that, a tension, an unbearable tension. And that's what he's done here. And he does it through cutting through a wonderful camera eye, a way of manipulating character, not actors, because he's very generous with his actors, but of manipulating character so that they will create, honestly, the kind of effect that he wants to disturb. It's back into the presentness of that War of the Worlds radio program of Wells. It's terrifying. I don't know, a guy who dreams and has dreamt for ages to reveal the existence of unidentified flying objects and their pilots and passengers. And we've made some inroads, and this time we have success. And he instinctively, just because of his age and where he's come from and the environs that he's worked in, he thinks of them as the enemy. He doesn't in any sense ever even conceive of them as being anything other than hostile. I think it should be well acted and well observed and well directed, and you're not overwhelmed with special effects, but the special effects are good and true. It's just a wonderful story, and they should have just a good time. Then they should go back and see it again and have another good time. That's what it's about, really. It's for us to take the audience, us, the group as a whole, to take the audience and suspend their sense of reality, to put them in a world of fantasy, and to continue it so honestly that they can go straight through to the end and then come out of it and go back to their own world. We should be kind of a parasite on their back and move them into another world.
The special effects, the creature is certainly crucial, but that's not the only element of the picture. What's going on between the characters, the relationship between father and son, the relationship between Sam and Mary, are as important as the presence of this alien creature. You're completely controlled. You have, and yet you're aware. So it's not as if you've been abducted and your mind has been stolen. You're still, that's the most frightening thing about it. You're still aware of everything that's going on. I mean, you'd be better off if the creature completely took you. Then at least, you know, you would be unconscious or dead. But in this case, you're going through perhaps these horrific acts, and you're aware of it the entire time. Sam's going in to rescue Mary. That is his primary goal. The way he's convinced his father to allow him to go on the mission, which he views as a suicide mission, is that if they can get in, they can learn something about the enemy, because they're really fighting an enemy that they don't understand.
The last thing that she expects is to ever really see a creature. You know, it kind of blows all of the theories she had out of the water. So it's exciting and terrifying at the same time. You know, and obviously very disappointing that it's such a hostile creature. The thing about these creatures is that they kind of expose all of your worst demons and fears and memories, and, you know, what happens to the character that Richard Belzer plays and the character that Eric Thal plays. Both of them come away from being slugged, as we like to call it, you know, with this sense of having been really naked and exposed in a way that they didn't want to be. The remainder of the film becomes kind of, can you trust anybody who's standing next to you, you know, and it heightens the level of fear. And I mean, when you get into that mindset, it's just a very ugly place to live. Paranoia is a very ugly place to live.
First of all, it's fear of the unknown, and the very thought of something outside of your own devices controlling you. Being, you know, the concept of being controlled by something outside of yourself, where you have absolutely no control. I mean, I think that's the most frightening aspect of the whole thing. Somebody once told me that just because you're paranoid don't mean they're not out to get you.
In come these three characters, and it explodes. And the pace of the film is very quick. The whole story happens over about 4 or 5 days. It's always seemed to me that the best science fiction films are those in which the audience is led into it through understanding their own world. So we've tried as much as possible to make sure that all aspects of the military and the scientific research is as authentic as possible, so that people will feel it could be happening outside their own front doors. It has a 5-foot reach. So if I'm sitting as close as I am to you, I can get you. But if you move over to that tree there and you're 10 foot away, then this creature has to sort of leapfrog. And it does it incredibly quickly.
Militarily, we're trying to talk. We would talk to a lot of people, advisors who would tell us how the military would react, how the Secret Service would protect the president. We feel pretty confident that these are all things that could happen. This could happen. They're all. If you had a creature like this, all these things could take place. I think the way we designed this, when the creature takes over, he gets inside of your head and does sort of possess you, take you over, and bring up the kinds of memories and stuff that you can't control.
You know, this one reminds me of The Exorcist in a way. It is almost a story in modern dress of demonic possession. The bad guys in this film are creatures that sit on your back and send probes into your brain, and they own you totally. You have no volition. You're there, you're conscious, you're aware of what's going on, but you have no volition and no ability to control your body. I believe it when I read Robert Heinlein's book. The book, even today, I've read it a million times, sweeps me up. I read the first page intending just to look for a particular thing in it for the film, and before I know it, I'm on the last page of the book. It carries me away precisely because it's very real. Heinlein was such an original voice in science fiction.
Like I said, they're like little time bombs ready to go off, and once they do open up, then they would stick themselves on the back of their host. It would basically fit between the shoulder blades with the neck portion. This part here would embed itself just below the base of the skull and take over the movements of its host. We did discuss that all of this is brain matter. So I guess it would have to be pretty intelligent if 80% of the creature was brain.
This time I did.
Was it worth printing the first one?
I printed them both because they're different.
Yeah, good.
Because the first one I didn't see him at all. This time I saw him and I stayed on him. This time I never saw Mom again.
hand a bit. Good.
Background.
And action. Look at your mom.
No.
No!
Cutting. We're cut.
It really went. Speed. Haley mark. And action.
Again. Jesus, I don't want to end up like that.
Cut. Good. Action.
It's continuous group identity, knowledge passed on through the exchange of RNA.
That's incredible. They're capable of transmitting not just intelligence, but memory from one body to the next just by coming into physical contact with one another. So let's assume that we started with 1,000 of them. We'll be conservative. 1 day, 4,000. 2 days, 16,000. In 2 weeks, there would be more
than 250 billion.
Right.
One of the alien life forms is loose in the building. We have to presume that it's riding one of us right now. Show them your bag. Sam's clean, Mary. I'm sorry, Miss Haynes, we have to check everyone.
No, I just found the pain like that.
And go, Humvee.
We're working our way up to more. But would that be good?
Yes, it would be good, but we don't really want them to panic too much because they're not human.
Right. Well, that's why I just told them to move faster, like a lot faster, as if there was more urgency and they had to get someplace to deal with what was happening.
Right.
Ready? And fire in the hole, everyone.
Roll. Fire in the hole.
Roll sound.
147 Apple take 1 2 check. Hey.
What's that?
Tail marks everywhere.
6 everywhere.
And
6.
Okay. Ready?
Okay. And action!
Background.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now cut, please.
The effect is they're like little time bombs ready to go off. Okay, on 3, let's open it up. 1, 2, 3.
Did you base this, when this was conceived, was it based on something? Was it
Is there anything that was used as a guide?
Yeah, we studied stingrays for a while and their movements, what they could do, and then we came up with the concept of, we got tired of just a stingray form. We thought, well, maybe we should make him into a long snake or chain, and then we started experimenting with the ball shape and how we could get the stingray shape to conform into a ball, and that's how we came up with this here.
Now, how does this work when it gets on to somebody?
What happens, like I said, they're like little time bombs ready to go off, and once they do open up, then they would stick themselves on the back of their host. That would basically fit between the shoulder blades with the neck portion. This part here would embed itself just below the base of the skull and take over the movements of its host.
What the hell's he doing here?
This is important, Sam.
Sorry about the short notice.
No problem.
They have their IDs?
So I'm a Kavanaugh now.
We're tourists. If anyone asked, I'm Charles Kavanaugh. Dr. Sefton is your sister.
My sister?
Of whom you are extremely fond in a clean-cut, healthy, all-American sort of way.
So where's my sister been all my life?
Dr. Sefton is on loan to us from NASA.
Jarvis, get the trunk for me, will you? Since when did the office start drafting civilians?
What you need to know for now is that in the scheme of things, she is much more valuable to us than you are.
And I take it you're as valuable as ever.
Naturally.
So if the two of you are being shot at, which bullet do I take?
Then you must try for both, of course.
He's arrived this morning for Mr. Jarvis. I let the delivery people in.
Give me a hand here.
Yeah, sure. Iowa. What that's all about. What the hell are those things?
Sam? Sam? Can you hear me?
Simonson here in your war, Andrew.
You know me.
And your dead wife.
And Mary.
You wouldn't believe the fantasies my host has about you, Mary. Would you like me to tell them to you?
No, we would not. I will ask the questions. And if you do not cooperate, I'll administer electric shocks and you will die.
I will stop the heart of this host and it will die.
Get it back!
This is on flat line.
2 cc's of epinephrine. 2 cc's of epinephrine. Stat. IV.
It's back.
Hold that epinephrine.
My God, it has total control.